Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Tuesday, May the 16th. I'm Tony Haggerty, as you know, or maybe you don't want to know, but still here anyway. They don't make mirrors the way they used to. I can't change this big ugly mug, but there you have it. At a Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm joined today by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay on the Twitter handle. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing well. I think I've firmly gotten over Saturday's result now. Now we're just looking ahead to the next games on the calendar. Still a good time to be a Celtic fan. We just keep on pushing on.
We move on, Ryan. Take the blips as they happen. We move on, don't we? Now, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, direct your attention and your eyes and your gaze to the ticker tape running along the bottom. And that's where I ask you every day to subscribe to the Celtic Way and support top quality journalism covering the club you love. And it'll cost you the princely sum of £12 for 1 year, all for the click of a button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe for unlimited access to everything that's written on the website. And we've got you covered on all areas and aspects of the club. That's £12 for 1 year of unlimited access. Get yourself involved. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And we say thank you to all the subscribers, the regular contributors and commenters. Young Ryan's getting to know them all as he goes along. They're an informed and wonderful bunch, Ryan. You'll enjoy the toing and froing. I guarantee that. Now, I think we should start today with the biggest positive out the lot, Ryan. The Celtic women's team, 3-team title shootout on Sunday. Celtic play Hearts 4:10. Glasgow City play Rangers at 4:10. It's been shown live on the telly, but if you can get yourself along, and at this moment in time, it's at the Shivery, isn't it, at Airdrie. Seen lots of calls for the game to be moved to Parkhead for the ladies to get a crowd in, a wonderful crowd. We'll see what happens in the event of that. You made the point to me off air that it might be a quick turnaround because Celtic play St Mirren on Saturday at Celtic Park. But Rangers have moved their game to Ibrox. I think they're hoping that they can shatter Celtic's 9,500 record that they set for a women's game the other day. But I think it's fair to say, Ryan, that this is a season where women's football has been firmly placed on the map and on a lot of Celtic supporters' radar. They follow the women intently this season because they're having a storming season. And on you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of that's down to Fran Alonso and his infectious enthusiasm that he brings to the team, both on and off the pitch, you would say, or on the touchline rather. Yeah, it seems as if women's football is really sort of taken a light this season. I know that we had that during the 2020-21 season where that was sort of the only positive that was going on at that moment in time with regards to Celtic, but now I feel like there's a lot more eyes on it, and you've seen that last week with the over 9,000 at Celtic Park for a women's game. That was absolutely brilliant. I think you're seeing now sort of worldwide how big women's football is getting. You look at the Nou Camp. I remember the Nou Camp broke a record for a women's football game earlier on in the season. It was either this season or the end of last season. And you're now seeing that filter through the Scottish game, which is absolutely brilliant. It's still football at the end of the day, and it's great to see the game improving as the years go by. And well done to everybody involved in sort of making the product better and more accessible too.
There's a couple of commenters coming in saying Fran Alonso, the Celtic Player of the Year, said the game will be taking place at Celtic Park. Don't know how true that is. It's not been confirmed yet, but Michael Ross comes in and I agree with this because they did get the ladies must get a huge boost from the Celtic end, make it happen for next year's Champions League. They got a huge boost from the Celtic end in the game the other night against Glasgow City where they came from 1-0 down and the crowd just rolled them over the line in that one, Ryan. And also, I mean, it would make sense to take it to Celtic Park. I don't know the logistics of it all, but hopefully they can. Glasgow City, 2 points at the top, clear, and Celtic are in third place, but just a goal behind Rangers, aren't they? They're both on 78 points. I think Glasgow City are on 80 points. And yes, it's all to play for, Ryan. What a finish! What a grandstand finish, as it will be known on Sunday. And just it'll be one of those where you're switching from game to game. are you getting the highlights from game to game? And it'll be excellent to tune into that.
Yeah, and I think this sort of conclusion is really, really good for the women's game, because it just shows it's just the same as the men's game in terms of how tight it can be, with sort of results going in each other's favours. We're going to have to be hoping that Rangers take something off of Glasgow City, which would be a weird sort of dynamic. But at the end of the day, the Celtic team have just got to go out and win, and then hope that the results fall their way, or fall in their sort of scenario. If they win, then they've put themselves in with the best possible opportunity. And if they get a resounding win with the goal difference, then that might heap pressure on the other game in the process. But all in all, regardless of what happens, I think it's been a really, really exciting season for the women, and it shows that the women's game is growing and expanding with every passing year. And this sort of scenario at the end of the season can only be good for more eyes watching the game.
And also, top two going to the Champions League, Ryan. That's very important, isn't it? Champions go in, and so do the runners up. So it's important for Celtic to try and grab at least one of those two spots, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I always remember going to the Excelsior Stadium and seeing the Women's Champions League flag going. Like, that was when I was playing five-a-sides, and you would see the Women's Champions League. You see maybe a game going on maybe in the next couple of hours after you've played football. It'd be great if Celtic were part of that and they could play their Champions League games there. Or even better, if they were to play some of the Champions League games at Celtic Park. That'd be an even greater test for the Celtic end to sort of get acclimatised to that sort of match day.
There are some proper players in the women's team, says Pete McGregor. Most certainly is. Jerry Smith saying play at Paradise and at Hearts Girls Freeze could be a record score. I just think they try to maximise the potential and the chance there. Celtic are going for a first ever Women's Premier League title. It would be wonderful if they could do it. And as you said, if there's a more enthusiastic manager on Planet Football than Fran Alonso, then I've yet to see him. His enthusiasm and just the way he carries on in touchline, it's just infectious. Really love it.
He makes Ange Postecoglou look quite timid with his celebrations, and that's quite difficult to do, especially if you watch them after the Scottish Cup semi-final. He was really giving it everything, but Fran Alonso, he absolutely loves it. He is now a Celtic supporter for life, you would say.
Yes. And Kevin Ferrier, morning Kevin, he comes in and says if Glasgow City draw and Celtic win, then they win the league. Yeah, that's the scenario. There's 2 points in it. Basically, Glasgow City and Rangers, you're expecting a tight contest, aren't you? And if Celtic win by a few goals, then, you know, the tighter the contest in another game, the better. But if Glasgow City win, they win the title. If Rangers win, it just depends on Celtic winning by a clearer and better margin than their manner of victory to win the title. So it's in their hands. You could have the scenario where Rangers win and it's not enough, and it hands Celtic winning the title if Celtic win, right?
Yeah, and it's. I always think that these sort of scenarios are really, really interesting, especially in the final day. And I know you've seen this happen before, maybe for two teams. I don't think I've ever seen it when three teams are in the race for the title on the final day. It's a really, really unique situation, and one that's really, really good for the sort of for fans to watch, for broadcasters to sort of market as well. It's a free horse race at the end of the day, and that it should be marketed to the heavens. This is really, really exciting for the women's game, and I hope as many people, even people that can't get themselves along to the game in Airdrie, are able to watch it on the telly and watch a proper title race sort of reach its conclusion.
Now my ball comes in. The women's game has come a long way. Celtic got back the opportunity to start out a women's team in the 90s. We had a good meeting with Jack McGinn, and then a letter knocking us back. Better days now. Thankfully, that's true. My ball. And Derek Crawford comes in. If Rangers win, then we need to score more than 2 goals more than Rangers. That's basically the scenario, yes, indeed. But excellent. Can't wait for that. Sunday will be a great day, Ryan. Hopefully, if it can be moved to Celtic Park, then the logistics are sorted, then that's what will happen, because I think it could be a brilliant day. I think young Eden said a while ago or last week, he said there was certainly twists and turns in it, and he said that Celtic would come out on top. So he's quite confident that Fran Alonso might actually go mental if Celtic win the league. So I think he's I'd love to see his reaction if he did.
That's almost as if you're saying he's not went mental before. I mean, what is he going to be like if he's not? I don't know what that ensues, but I would very much like to see it. I'd like to be in that position where he has to go more mental, because that means we've achieved our goal of winning the title. That'd be absolutely brilliant for everyone concerned. And for me, that would make Trophy Day even more exciting, if the fact that the women's team could come out with their trophy, if the B team could come out with their City of Glasgow trophy. And you've got to remember, the Celtic women are going for a double here as well. So it could be a really, really great season if everything transpires in the next couple of weeks.
I'd say that a couple of weeks ago, just prior to this, that I would love everybody to win the respective titles, and the B team and the used to have won the cup to be at trophy presentation day, parading the silver wares. I think that would be brilliant. What a party atmosphere that would be, just for all the teams to come out and show everybody that their labours of the season. I think it'd be a great day. And again, go back to what Anne said as well. I think that would be a wonderful celebration of everything that's good about Celtic.
Yeah, it'd certainly be bragging rights if we were to bring out all the trophies on Trophy Day. That would be my sort of barometer of what bragging rights could be in terms of both the men's and women's game. It'd be really great to see that.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Trophies equals bragging rights. There must be some mistake, Ryan. Surely just winning.
That must have been a slip of the tongue. Sorry.
Surely you're only as good as your last game, so come on. You were told that grown up. Yeah, but there we go. Bragging rights, call it what you like. Trophies equals success in my book. So
guarantee you, Angel have heard that comment as well. Angel will use that in the next couple of press conferences or something like that. He is he's like a magnifying glass, or sort of there. If somebody was to say a comment, I remember the lucky comment has been used quite a few times. It wouldn't surprise me if bragging rights gets used in the next couple of weeks.
It wouldn't surprise me if bragging rights featured on a kind of end of season T-shirt, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
I mean? These things write themselves, or they make themselves. So
yeah. So I think as you say that there's a tremendous marketing opportunity there, is there not? With the words bragging rights appearing on them for some kind of, there you go. Pete McG comes in. Quite like this. Bragging rights, Ryan. You'll be talking about pressers at Parker's next. Pete McG hates the words pressers, and yes, I did say the word Parker's there, but I'm going to ban it from my list. I just can't be having that. It's Celtic Park, Parkhead or Paradise. Perm anyone from free. For those who like a wee Titus Bramble will know what that means if you perm something. There you have it. And speaking of perms, I used to have the Charlie Nicholas in perm back in the day when I was at school. So yeah, I've tried to dig out photos of that, but can't find them, thankfully. There we go. Now we say good luck to the Celtic women's team. I want to see Fran Alonso's celebration if he wins the title. I just think it would be wild. It'd be magic. And as you say, I think he is a friend, a Celtic supporter for life. Well, he's a friend for life as well. But I think he's somebody who has just bought into everything about this football club. It's got under his skin, and it's marvellous to see. And I think the Celtic women could finish the season off fittingly by winning the title. And as you say, they've also got the cup as well. And I'd love to see them at Celtic Park parading that trophy and alongside the managers. That'd be great. So we keep our fingers crossed for that. But we'll also preview it as well in the coming days. But good luck to them, and we just thought we would give them their dues, Ryan. And speaking about them and taking it down to the last day, I think they've been fantastic to do that.
Yeah, we're not gonna shirk away from Celtic potentially winning another trophy or two trophies. We're going to take as many trophies as we can get, regardless of what version of the team it is. It's still Celtic at the end of the day, and they've done so well this season, and I just hope that they can finish it off on Sunday. Fingers crossed they can get the business done.
Now, we're not going to, we said, talk about every transfer target, Ryan, but there's one that appeared today, and lots of seemingly garnering a lot of actual interest that Celtic are in for a Dutch defender, central defender, Xavier Mbuyamba, who played Dutch under-19 international, also interesting Wolves, but he plays for Volendam, FC Volendam in the Eredivisie He made 28 appearances and he scored 5 goals. Volendam are sitting in 14th place in the league and are 5 points clear of the drop zone. And he's had an interesting kind of CV so far. Obviously, the comparisons with Virgil van Dijk have came thick and fast, but he was at Dutch second division side Maastricht 2018. He was the youngest ever player to make a first team appearances, and then after just 11 appearances, he left to go to Barcelona of all places, and Barcelona actually beat Celtic and Chelsea to sign him in 2019, and he made 3 appearances for Barcelona under-19s in the FA Youth League, but he never made a first team appearance for Barca, but did train at La Masia training complex or training setup, so he knows the score in terms of footballing ability. Then he signed for Chelsea on a free transfer. He signed a 3-year deal with Chelsea, but he didn't play for Chelsea first team either. But he played a full season for the 21s, making 33 appearances, scored 3 goals. But then he also suffered a serious knee injury, which kept him out for 8 months. So that's kind of his CV and his background. But we were talking off air. You were saying if he's trained at La Masia, he's a football player, isn't he?
Absolutely. You don't sign for Barcelona if you're not good with the ball at your feet. Same goes for Chelsea, to be fair, as well. They've been trying a more possession style of play over the past few years. I know they're not having a great season just now, but they always buy really young and they try and develop their players through their reserve side and their under-20 side, etc. Yeah, it seems as if at Volendam this season's been his breakout season. You know, Fabrizio Romano's tweeting about you. You know, there's a wee bit of buzz about you. It seemed that AZ Alkmaar, Ajax and PSV are all interested in him as well. That's when you know he's a good player, because they shop from their market as well. They'll look at the domestic game. They'll have played against them 2-3 times each time, and they'll know that he's a good football player. I mean, just on the face of it, the last Dutch centre half that we had didn't turn out too bad. So if we can get anywhere near the last one, we'll be doing all right. But his profile looks good. 21 years old, 6'5", sort of a breakout season. This is the sort of profile of player that Celtic should be going for, because in the short term he can make a difference in the first team, and in the long term he can get as a healthy profit after a couple of years.
Well, Virgil van Dijk always praises Celtic for putting him on the kind of football map. Said that his career trajectory would not have gone as high had he not had the pit stop at Celtic. And if that's the kind of player, as you say, he kind of fits a lot of the bill, doesn't he? And Virgil van Dijk didn't turn out too badly, as you mentioned. He did okay. So, and here's a comment here from Who's News. Volendam was a team I scouted last season. Good place to look. So I think Celtic are all over many things in terms of bringing in young players with potential who could go on to bigger and better things. And Andrew Gilliatt says we'll have some competition for the big young Dutchman. Yeah, I get that. But Pete McGee says he sounds like a player about 8 months out with a serious knee injury. His shades of Julian, and we know how that turned out. I guess, just reading about him, I think he would be an exciting signing for Celtic. Now, it's clearly, and I've said this before, he is clearly a person of interest. Now Celtic have to go and ask the question and see if all the variables can be worked out. If he speaks to Ange face to face, or he gets the legendary phone call and wants to be part of it. And Ange is quite a persuasive man. So if Celtic want him and he speaks to Ange, then there's every chance that the manager can persuade him that his future lies at Celtic. So hopefully that is the case. But I think maybe it's an indication of the manager, Ryan, or Celtic saying that we need more defensive cover.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. It also begs the question of who would they be sort of replacing in the first team, because I wouldn't expect a guy like this with such good stock, with such high stock, to be sitting on the bench, especially if we're going to spend a bit of money. If Ajax and PSV, AZ Alkmaar, etc., Wolves, as you mentioned, if they're interested in him, this guy isn't going to be sitting around. He'll be playing in the first team, so it makes you think, who'll be going the other way. I know there's been talk about maybe Stephen Welsh going out the door to get first team experience, whether that be on a loan or a permanent. We've seen Kobayashi at the weekend struggle. How far along is he in his development? And then we've also heard interest in Starfelt. Fabrizio Romano tweeted himself a couple of months ago that there was interest in the Premier League. Starfelt is of that age where if he's going to make a move to the Premier League, it's going to be now, because he's 26, 27. This is the perfect time for him to move on if he was to move on. So maybe Celtic are just doing long-term contingency plans into maybe they know that there's going to be movement in the summer, and this is them just putting the feelers out to get a replacement in for one of our potential first team players leaving the club. If that's the case, then I'm absolutely delighted, because we're doing our business early. We're sort of getting our houses in order, and we won't be left stranded when it comes to defensive options.
Yep, Pete McGee saying some pundits are liking for young Virgil van Dijk, and if that's the case, and he's 100% over his injury, we should be interested in him. Agree with that. And Derek Crawford saying, hopefully it's not Starfelt. So there you go. And
I hope so too.
Andrew Greer said, quite like the left side, you'd centre half at Hearts, Guy Rolls. Listen,
I just wonder if he could take the step up.
Yes, I think he'll be linked with all on Sunday. I like the look of Xavier Mbuyamba, so only because, as you say, the Barcelona and Chelsea academies and under 21 players
Good stock.
Good stock, exactly. And that is the kind of player that we should be scouting. The comparisons with Virgil van Dijk are parked right now, but I understand why they'll come. But I guess everybody wants to kind of pigeonhole you, Peggy, and put you somewhere. But yeah, it didn't work out too badly with Virgil van Dijk, and if that's the kind of market that Celtic are in again, then because Van Dijk came from Groningen, didn't he? So not exactly a heavyweight.
Remember when he signed? He was linked with Barcelona before we signed him too. So I think this is the time that we need to sign these players, because if he makes a move to a team that's quite like us in terms of like your sort of maybe a Benfica or a Dutch team, they're out of our price range automatically, just because the valuation goes up because they're playing in a better league. If we're going to get this sort of player, I know he's playing in the Dutch league just now, but he's playing for maybe a lower team in the Dutch league. I know they've done well to sort of steer clear of relegation this season, but if we're going to be able to afford them, we need to get them right now while other clubs, or while we have an opportunity to get them, because if they go to AZ Alkmaar, Ajax or PSV and they're a first team player, we can't afford them. That's just the way it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, a couple of comments coming in saying, we need a left back more than a centre back, in my opinion, says Derek Crawford. Bernabe is not the answer, even as a backup. And FS says, I thought Ange had his summer spreadsheet signings done.
Maybe this is one of them.
Yeah, maybe. Charlie McGarvey, I agree with this as well. We need Champions League ready players. It's an unforgiving place for anyone who isn't ready for it. I wrote that in my piece, my verdict piece on after Saturday, that I think they need to be signing Champions League ready players. I like the look of Xavier from what I've read. That's fine, but I still think they need one or two guys who are going to fit straight into that team, Ryan. My immediate thought would be a midfield enforcer and a Wanyama type. I would like to see somebody like that, somebody big and powerful, that kind of player. I think on Saturday it showed that they, not necessarily saying they get bullied, but I still think we need somebody who's big and powerful in there. I think they're wonderful footballers, but sometimes the physical side, maybe that Celtic team lacks that, possibly. But so I would like to see a big, towering presence in the middle of the park.
I was speaking to somebody on Sunday, and somebody was saying that they were likening maybe Rangers to sort of like your fellow top four sort of Champions League team. That's the sort of barometer that they are, and we should be maybe adjusting our team for that as well. I thought, I've called for him the past couple of times to start Celtic Rangers games, but I thought Iwata would have been a stick-on to play. He's played well every time he's played against Rangers. I know he didn't really get the ball as much when he came on in the second half at Ibrox on Saturday, but we need to try this guy out at the number 6 to see if he can do it. As much as McGregor's good on the ball, I think sometimes he's maybe not as strong. And you've seen that for the third goal. He made a mistake in that position. we need somebody in there that's going to tighten us up in between midfield and defence. I would say we need somebody that's just going to sweep up. I just hope that Iwata's that person, and if he's not, then we need to sign a destroyer, like you said, somebody that's going to do that in Europe.
I just want somebody big and powerful to offer an extra layer of protection. I think Iwata is an excellent footballer. I think we've got a lot of tidy footballers, but I want somebody big to really make their mark, just for the physical challenge more than anything else, to have a bit of brute force and strength. Now, I'm not giving John Lundstrom any kind of kudos, but he likes to make his mark, doesn't he? He likes to kind of go about and kick people, and sometimes it's effective. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying somebody to kick people, but I'm just saying that by sheer brute force and aggression, you can sometimes kind of win football matches.
And I think in terms of calling a spade, I thought Raskin was quite good at closing the ball down as well for Rangers on Saturday. They sort of had the hunger in the midfield that our midfield didn't seem to have, which was quite worrying because it was a strong midfield three that we put out. I know there was weakened positions in other places on the park, but in terms of the midfield, I'd be expecting that midfield to start most games for Celtic in terms of the personnel. So yeah, I think maybe a destroyer in the number 6 would be a great move. I know last season we were linked, or at the start of this season we were linked with Vinicius Souza, who went to Espanyol. Don't really know how he's getting on at Espanyol, but somebody in that ilk that is just going to put out fires before the defence needs to extinguish them.
Do we miss the physical presence of someone like Bruni when the going gets tough? Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of player, Jerry O'Roy, taking it back further, a big Roy type, big Roy Aitken, yep. Marquis saying exactly right. McGregor makes those type of mistakes regularly in big games.
I don't want to slag him too much because he's been so good.
No, but it's an observation, it's not a criticism. Eric Crawford, even Cantwell was very aggressive at the weekend and won the yellow.
Very true.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about as well. And Kevin Ferrer coming in, I give a lot of the remaining games in that position and move McGregor up forward a bit. And I'd said all along that I thought that was the whole point in bringing a Watt in, double pivot type thing, and an extra layer of protection. It's just my preference. I'm not saying that. Now Paul Burns saying no top team has a destroyer nowadays. We just need to play better, play around those players. I'm not talking about an actual destroyer. I'm talking about Victor Wanyama. For me, was a fine footballer, but he had a bit about him, a big powerful presence. But there are some times when you need to be aggressive and physical, and I think Celtic maybe lack that in the midfield area. That's what I'm saying.
I would maybe not a destroyer, but in terms of the way Man City play, I know it's an English example, but the way Rodri goes about his business, he puts out fires. He's not exactly the most aggressive all the time. I know he can be quite graceful on the pitch, but you need somebody with that authority that can just take the ball and make tackles as well, make interceptions. It seems as if every team has that holding midfielder that's able to do that. I think that's probably the missing link for Celtic between that and maybe a dynamic attacking midfielder. If you can get somebody in between Cal McGregor, if you were to maybe get a number 6 and then a number 10, I think it would do wonders. And I know we've got good players such as Hatate and O'Reilly, but sometimes you just need that X factor in the Champions League that's just going to do the business. And I think if you spend... Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if Borussia Dortmund have any midfielders going just now. I think we're a wee bit priced out for Jude Bellingham, but if they've got any others, they can send them our way.
But that's the kind of player I'm talking about. That Paul Lambert liked the challenge and he could mix it, and he was a top footballer, So Andrew Gallagher saying that it's a luxury nowadays to carry an enforcer. I'm not just saying somebody that spoils the game. I'm talking about a footballer, in there.
You can do both.
Do both, yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You need a hybrid of the two, I think, in the modern game. You need somebody that's going to force the issue, but also be quite graceful and make passes in the middle of the park as well. These players are available. You just need to find them, and we need to scout them before the big teams do.
Now, guys are coming in and say that observation is spot on, Tony, and enforcer who will step up and stamp on a few nappers and take the fight out of others or match it at least. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Lambert was a cracking player, exactly. That's the kind of players I'm talking about. People that can do both, as your man said there. Neither disruptor, not a destroyer. Someone who can keep 2 steps ahead of the play. Yeah, very much, Carol. Call them what you like. I just need somebody to be a wee bit more effective and physical in there. I look at the Celtic team and apart from Carter Vickers, who, then again, he's not the biggest, but he looks big, doesn't he? He's got stature.
He's dense. He's dense.
I look at the midfield and, well, no, blessed with great height, are they? I think.
Apart from O'Reilly is tall for a midfielder, but he's not that. He's an attacking mid, and he doesn't score headers, so it's not as if he uses his height to his advantage in terms of attacking or defending. Because he takes the set pieces as well, so you take somebody that's 6'2", 6'3" away from the box. That gives you less of a aerial prowess.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I saw the midfield getting kind of overrun on Saturday, and I didn't like that. And I know people saying that there wasn't much at stake, and I get that, and the league was won and all that. But you kind of looked at it and you thought, okay, we could and should be doing better. Big McGee is Big Bobo still playing. If you can find him, I'd like to ask him the question, but there you go.
Still couldn't pass a ball, Big Bobo, to be fair. So I don't think he would last 2 minutes in an Ange Postecoglou system. Great defender, don't get me wrong, but couldn't pass the ball.
Brilliant defender. It reminds me of the great quote. It was actually by Walter Smith on Scott Nisbet, where he said every pass was an adventure. I think it's the same with Bobo, wasn't it? Every pass was an adventure.
Yeah.
I think under erratic in the dictionary it said "see Bobo," didn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I could say that about Bernabeu though as well. Now I know I actually looked at his passing stats the other day, and they're not as bad as what I thought. They were like 4% lower than Greg Taylor's pass completion percentage. But I think his passes are getting to people, but players have to move a bit to get to Bernabeu's passing. Let's just say I wasn't too impressed with Bernabeu on Saturday, and I think the left back position is certainly somewhere where I think Greg Taylor needs to be challenged a wee bit more. I think if there was a position that I would look to sort of improve on in the summer, left back would certainly be one of them.
Yeah. FS comes in and says midfield needs to be better. That's basically what I'm saying. And I think in order to make that better than bringing somebody in with a bit of force and aggression, I think and physical presence, I think would enhance it.
And that's the thing, that doesn't need to apply to every game. I think against Rangers, you do need a more physical presence at the number 6 in order to negate their style of play, because they will go blood and thunder in the midfield. That's the way that Rangers will play under Michael Beale. We know that. We've seen that. Seen it under Gerrard, and Beale plays a similar way. So we need somebody to sort of not to sort of negate them, but to help us in winning the ball back and being aggressive, because you can't have all flair players in a Glasgow derby. You need people that are going to get stuck in as well without sounding agricultural in the way that we're playing. You do need somebody that's going to stick the boot in.
Up until now, our footballers have been able to cope with Rangers so far, but since they've added Raskin and Cantwell, and I'm not seeing enough of them to say they're going to be world beaters or excellent players. That was the first time I looked at them on Saturday and thought they were decent. That was all. I didn't see much of them in the games, the league game, semi-final or the cup final. So I had nothing to go on. But I think given time and being moulded into playing that way by Michael Beale, they will get better. So you have to answer that question, because they will come at you next year with blood and thunder and blood and snotters and all that, and they'll get ripped into you. So you need to be able to withstand that impact. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And I think we've got all the tidy footballers in the world that can play around them, but I want to match up when it starts to get physical, so that we have somebody there for that layer of protection that allows our footballers to be able to do that. And we're matching up with them, the likes of Lundstrom, Cantwell, Raskin, if they're going to start that kind of blood and thunder stuff. So that's basically my point,
Yeah.
Because you have all the tidy footballers in the world, but if they're being negated because of their physical players, then that's what happens.
Yeah, I totally agree. You've just got to fight fire with fire sometimes in those sort of pressure situations. I was trying to think about what I was going to say there, and then I was listening to you and I've completely forgot what I was saying. So, sometimes you just need those sort of sort of not a utility player, but a sort of specialist player that is going to do that in those games, because whether we like it or not, we're going to play Rangers 4, 5, 6 times a season probably under Michael Beale. They are going to get to the latter stages of competitions, and we're going to be playing Champions League teams next season. So we need a player in there that is going to do that role. And you would say for a couple of the away games as well, you look at places like Tynecastle, Pittodrie, sometimes you need somebody that's going to just force the issue in the number 6 role. It's just all about being, I've remembered what I was going to say, it's all about being proactive rather than reactive, I would say. And Celtic have been very proactive in the past couple of years with their signings ever since the sort of 2020-21 season. We just need to be proactive and maybe get this sorted in the summer before that sort of performance happens again. I know it was in all intents and purposes, a dead rubber, but you don't want that sort of overrun in the midfield happening again. So I would want us to sort of address this in the summer window, and so that doesn't need to happen again.
Sure, the manager's all over it. He knows more than you and I. Ryan's probably forgotten more about football than you and I, actually. No, but there you go. I'll trust him with that. I'm just merely making up saying my thoughts on the piece about having someone else in the midfield. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Keimatsu, repeat after me. You don't win every game. The past is the past. The future is the only important thing. Well, there you go. A bit of philosophy for you this morning, Ryan, from Keimatsu. Now you talking about you said a word there which escaped me, but I'll just throw this out here. The new kits, Ryan. Adidas leaked the new kits yesterday, and it's caused consternation amongst the Celtic supporters. The usual love it, hate it, kind of Marmite type football kits from Celtic. There was a home kit, an away kit, or 2 away kits, a home kit, an away kit, and a third kit. And then there was a special home kit, wasn't there? Kind of 4th kit. So, what was your thoughts on them all?
Well, I knew that one of them was pretty much real because it was on the Adidas website. And if it's on the Adidas website, they wouldn't put out a fake. They're just not going to do that. They're too big a company to sort of get involved in any of those shenanigans. When I seen the 3rd kit, I've got to be honest, I might be in the minority here. I quite like it. It's not one of those ones that it's a bit of a weird sort of pattern, but I like weird kits. If you were to see that in South America or maybe in a far off country, I think it'd be one of those sort of Marmite kits that a lot of people would love. I think once you see Jota or Matt O'Reilly in it, I'm sure it'll look fine. That's just we've got our models for the team that are going to model that kit and look all right in it. So. The home kit was more of a concept kit because the socks were leaked, but it was more of like the stained glass. If that's what the hoop's like, then that is one of the worst Celtic home kits I've ever seen. That is not anywhere near what the kit will look like. Don't mess about with the hoops. Like, it's so easy. Why mess about with it? But what I will say, that special edition home kit might be the first home kit that I buy in the past couple of years, and I guarantee you, if that is real, they will be wearing that in Asia. They will be looking to market that in Asia. It might even be getting specially made for that purpose. They can make money off of that.
The special edition kit is as close to the original Celtic kit as you can get, where they just do hoops. I know they have to put the badge on it and the Adidas logo on it. I get that, but I would rather that was Celtic's home kit. Because I think I'll go with Kaiser on this one. Beautiful in its simplicity. Exactly. If I had my way, I would revert to, but I'm an old romantic, just the hoops, not even the badge, or just even a kind of tiny 4-leaf clover with Celtic Football Club round it is the smallest that you could get. Because I would love to see it kind of go back to the traditional hoops with nothing.
Remember the kit that came out in 2020 or 2012 rather, the white kit with the collar with the sort of the old Irish sort of crest, and I remember I had the tiny 10-inch one just round about there. That would have been so perfect if they just didn't have the sponsorship. I know it was tiny and minuscule, but if they didn't have that, that would have been one of the perfect kits. I remember it, the white with the black collar. I've still got that in the house actually, but it seems as if Adidas are doing this with a number of things, or with a number of sort of affiliates that they've got, because they've done it with the Scotland kit as well. That limited edition Scotland kit, they didn't have. I know they don't have any sponsors on it anyway, but it was very minimal in its design, and a lot of people loved that. The one thing that I will say is that this is going to be expensive. This special edition kit, it's going to be another 90, 100 quid, I would say.
Poops all day long, says Jerry O'Raw, and to back up your where is it? Derek Crawford said, the tops are increasing a tenner each year. Disgraceful. Oh, Pete, old romantic Tony, you never bought me flowers. You never asked, sir. But hey.
You don't ask, you don't get.
You don't bring me flowers anymore. Is that what's playing in the background, Pete McGee? Yeah. Barbara Streisand, I think, maybe again before your time, Ryan. But I'm sure it was her.
Just a bit, Tony. Just a bit.
Just a bit. But there you go. Charlie McGarvey, not a wife, 4-leaf clover. That's nonsense. We haven't even worn the green one yet. Get on it, Celtic. So there you go. Keimatsu, Streisand. It was Simon. Derek Crawford, you don't say me last. There you go. See, I told you did. They jump on anything, Ryan. They're a wonderful crowd.
And one thing I would say just about the third kit has to go. It's got to be more out there because of clashes with St Mirren's kits and Hibs' kits, because maybe they weren't as wild when Hibs weren't in the top league because we weren't playing them every season. But ever since Hibs have returned, I feel like they have gotten more mental. But they have to in order. And I mean, we've seen that in the St Mirren game, the away game at the St Mirren Stadium. Even with the kits that they were playing with, they were clashing. So I'd much rather the kit was out there if it means that the players don't get confused on who they're passing to. If it means it's more out there, then I'm all for that, to be honest.
Correct. Pete McGee, give me a break, Tony. He listens to good music. People would conjecture that Barbara Streisand's a good singer, Pete, but hey, there you go.
Put it out.
And Derek Crawford, anymore. That's the big finish. Anymore. So there you go. Pete McGee, I definitely want to see an update in the Bumblebee. There you go. But I think Jota was rocking the Bumblebee the other day, wasn't he, Ryan?
Certainly was. Yeah. I was talking to him the other day as well too. I was asking him about it. He was he's very happy to talk about Glasgow, and he seems like he's really enjoying his time in the city. And it's great to see that. I think, especially a guy from like a foreign country such as Portugal. I know it's not that far away, but it's still a foreign country with different cultures. So it's great to see a guy sort of taking advantage of where he's living and sort of soaking in the culture, or the different culture that Glasgow has to offer. Seeing him in the record stores and seeing him in the Brazen Head, that's brilliant to see. You love that, and you love seeing a player just get acclimatised to his surroundings. So it makes us love him more. And I know it's very difficult to love him more because he's done the business on the park, but his actions off the park have been just as good.
Correct. I think see someone like Jota immersing himself in the culture of Celtic and Glasgow is just a joy to see. There we have it. Now people are still getting all worked up about Barbara Streisand being mentioned there. There you go. I mean, where else will you go? A Celtic podcast and you would talk kits, you would talk new signings, you would talk the women's team, then talk Barbara Streisand. You just don't get that anywhere, do you, right?
That's the beauty of the briefing. That's the beauty of the briefing. We cover all angles on this.
It's a spaghetti junction nature of the briefing. We just go off tangents and all that.
Every base is covered. Every base is covered. We've got you covered.
Even words like cornucopia from Kaiser yesterday.
I don't know if we got a big word today, but
educational as well, isn't it? No big words today. But hey, we'll maybe reserve that for later on in the week.
So we'll give people another 24 hours to think of one.
Indeed. There you have it, guys. That's been 45 minutes. Hope you've enjoyed that. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Have a terrific Tuesday. Always love the comments, guys. You never let me down or let us down, and it's love the banter, love the to and fro, and we couldn't do it without you. And we say thank you to you for your subscription and also tuning in And if you've enjoyed this today and you haven't subscribed, why don't you do it? It will cost you the grand sum of £12 for 1 year for unlimited access to everything that's written on the website, and it's all for a click of a button, and covering the club that you love and some top quality football journalism in the process. Hit that button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. Always do. Love you too, Peter. Love everybody on the comment section. Love you all for getting involved. That's why we involve all of you. We try to with your comments. We just like the whole kind of Celtic family and community that we've created on the briefing. Ryan's getting to know them all. They've been all right with you so far, Ryan, haven't they?
They've treated me well so far. I can always improve, but they've treated me well so far. So I appreciate it.
As they say, you're only as good as your last podcast or last briefing, Ryan, aren't you? You know what
Without a doubt.
I think in a minute you've got the bragging rights, haven't you? You know what I mean? So you'll last. So says, guys, cheers. Appreciate that. And Derek Crawford, it's early days, Ryan. It's early days.
It's always early days.
And Pete McGee, this edition has been a stoker. Thank you, guys. Always appreciate it. You're always in good form. You bring your A game. We try and bring our A game, don't we? Yeah, we do every day. But there you go. And just avoid the BR references, Ryan. You'll be all right. Says Pete.
Yeah. What BR is that? Brendan Rodgers or bragging rights?
We'll throw that one up there, and we'll leave it up to the others to decide. Excellent, guys. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it. We always do. Have a wonderful day, Ryan. Top class. Thanks for your contribution today.
Thanks for having me.
Good show. Jerry O'Rourke, just end with this one. Best pod for interacting with fans. We try, Jerry. We try. Guys, take care. Have a wonderful day. All the best.